ultimate cold callers. Um, some are doing a lot of advertising or mailing. Some just focus solely on their sphere of influence. Um, some of them are huge event goers and throwers. And some of them indeed take the less noticeable route, which we're going to go through some of that right now. In the meantime, Daniel always works very hard. He got um, the book here together, the workbook. So if you did not get it yet, Daniel, I'm sure, is going to stick it in as he did already. He put it into the chat. Daniel, I call him Radar because the guy gets things so fast. But if you can take time to download this, it is important. And it is kind of just a good thing. You could either follow along with it now or certainly use it outside of the meeting, which I sincerely hope you do. Um, like I said, you're going to see a lot of real estate coaches that are going to say there's my way or the highway. That's the biggest bunch of bullshit you've ever heard. It's just not true. There's just so many different ways that you could be doing this business, and you might want to take, as many of you do, a blend of all this stuff, and that's what this is really all about. So let's just get right into it now. What I want to find out from you, or I want you to try and mark out, is what are your current marketing expenses? If you could actually list out what those are, even if on a piece of paper right now, I'll give you a second to get it together. And if you are new and you don't have any expenses, what are the expenses that you can envision that you're going to have in trying to grow the business? One thing that I do focus on is what is the absolute dollar productive approach that you could take to getting the most amount of business? What is the dollar productive approach that you could take with your time? I would argue a lot of you don't really put the right amount of time into the right amount of things. So we're going to do this. Now, once you actually have those costs written out, you got to ask yourself, and you got to wrestle with this. This isn't going to be done just in this meeting. Where can you cut costs? All of you came here, which says to me that you've at least curious about how you might do business on a budget. Well, this is what it's going to be. We need to find out what your current marketing expenses are. And that could include your lunches, that could include parties, that could include emails, letters, whatever the heck you're doing. Try and put all that together. And then find out where you could cut. This is a great exercise in that. And Daniel, I don't know if you saw Hassan is requesting if you could please share the link again. He came in a minute late. Welcome, Hassan. It's always nice to have you. Um,
Well,
so, yeah, so current expenses, and where do you think those expenses can be cut? By the way, guys, you could jump in on this at any point and talk with me about it. We'll also talk. I'd like to save some of the time at the end to go over how AI could be your friend in the whole budgeting process. Here's the other thing that you might not have considered, and I get this a lot from different realtors. You don't need to shoulder this all by yourself. Now, what do I mean by that? There are marketing partners. Has anyone here advertised on Zillow before? Maybe, kind of, sort of. A couple show of hands if you have. Okay. It's hard to see. Everyone's at lunch and nobody wants to show their face, but I know some of you have. If you have advertised on Zillow, you'll know that they give an opportunity for you to share that expense with your favorite mortgage broker. And here's the good news, despite how you might be feeling about that, mortgage brokers really, really benefit off of what you do. And there's a lot of different things that you could do to work with a mortgage broker to be able to shoulder some of these expenses. So that's the first piece of advice that I have. Second from that is to take a look at some of these other categories. Title companies, sometimes I've seen kick in money for marketing. Certainly, title companies will pay for the food at your broker's opens and open houses. So start to think a little bit more strategically that way. Home insurance. In Florida, home insurance is a huge issue. Sandy knows that. Okay, everyone else knows Florida Florida health insurance, life insurance. You see how tired I am. Florida home insurance is so expensive, so to be able to try and get partners in that, it's really, really important. Home warranty companies. I've just heard a couple of people that have actually spoken to the home warranty companies about the kinds of co-marketing they could do. Local contractors. I'm not telling you to take a kickback from anyone, although if there is some type of legal means of getting a commission from them for introducing business, I'm all for that too. But what you really need to do is take a look at what can you do with this. Moving companies, home inspectors. Okay. If anybody has some ideas to throw other things to the list, the whole idea behind this meeting is that we collaborate and share these ideas. So if you've had some ideas of what's worked, again, Nicole, I know you've been around for some time. Eddie Glantz, maybe you want to chime in a little bit on some of the co-marketing that you may have done uh, or that you know of. That would be great. Sandy, anyone else would be great to jump in there. Um, there's other things that you're going to be able to do. Your marketing materials, talking about the type of things that you can brand and put out there. Branded promotional items, print advertising, digital marketing campaigns, and direct mail campaigns. All of these things are really, really cheap. I'm going to give you some examples here right now. I spoke with a coaching client of mine yesterday, and she's going to rip off and duplicate something that another person I know is doing here in Boca. The Dogs of Boca Raton is an Instagram account. They're not doing much with that right now. I wish they would. Now, what are you doing? You're walking your dog down the street. You see somebody else with a dog. You could tell them about that. You'd like to put their dog on the Instagram page. Didn't you instantly get a friend? Of course you did. And didn't you instantly get a follower? Of course you did. All these things work in large amounts. So if you keep pounding away at this type of thing to build those relationships, we then talk about what can be done to grow exponentially with the relationships. So think that through. Um, there's also community events. I've got someone who's renting an ice cream truck. There's a what is it? A Good Humor ice cream truck that's a vintage, early 1962 truck. And the guy comes dressed in the white suit with the hat and all this. $400. Now look, now getting into a little bit of a budget here, but if you populate that on the right day within a community, and if you get a little bit more clever with some of the things that you pass out with the napkins and other materials that could go with it, now you are truly the local realtor. Isn't that the truth? Not wildly. Okay, I'm not nodding wildly anyway. So it's just one other thing to consider. Ongoing programs, there's newsletter sponsorships. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the same people that are sponsoring some of the other marketing stuff, I now am creating a map of my community. I live at St. Andrews Country Club, and I actively farm that area. And one of the things that I noticed, even though it's a golf course, even though golfers love to get the little maps that they can hold in their pocket, the club does not have one. It has a big map, but I'm now making a map. We've come up with the pricing for it. With the graphic design and the printing, it's going to be about $4,500. That's the bad news. Good news is I've got a bunch of people that would love to sponsor it, including a home organizing company, including a mortgage company, including myself. So now I've just cut the cost by two-thirds. So instead of 4,000, let's make it 4,500 to make the math easy. $1,500 now. Again, that's going to produce about 2,500 maps. There's 728 homes in this community. It's not going to be for a mailer, at least at first, but we will be doing drop off and putting it into all of the marketing materials. And you're going to be seeing a big picture of me. I'll be smiling there and you're going to have me. And that's what we're really trying to do. This is the time for you to be selfish. A lot of you feel like, isn't that being a bit of a blowhard? Yes, it is. And you know what? It happens to work. It happens to work really, really, really well. So think that through. If you are a farmer, as I am, think about what strategically, what is really going on within the community that you'll be able to do to be able to grow out and grow the business. Let's take a look at a couple of other things. We talked about sponsorships, workshops, client appreciation events. Yeah, I wish that didn't make that in here. I like the idea of client appreciation, but calling it client appreciation, Caroline, doesn't that sound like a big turnoff? Are you going to go to a client appreciation lunch? Maybe?
No, especially if a lot of people don't show up.
Yeah.
They
But
think you don't have a lot of clients.
if you have something that isn't client appreciation, if you have another word for it, then you may be able to have some type of interest. For example, I found a doctor in my area who specializes in stem cells. and I was able to get the ballroom of my club on the cheap, and I had him come in and talk about the future of stem cell technology and how it's going to extend life. Now, what does that have to do with real estate? Here's the thing, nothing. It has nothing to do with real estate. It's fantastic. I'm the guy moderating it. It's unfair. I'm pretty good at public speaking. Maybe you're not. But
You are.
we could talk about strategies you could get over this. Now we got a whole load of people coming to that event. And sure enough, you now have the ability to do what I always say. Caroline, you haven't heard me say this before. Sandy did. My first law of crap: capture, reward, automate, and plan. You're capturing your leads by having them come to that event. Okay, you're rewarding them with the actual event, the actual content of the event. You're automating the process. That's the A in crap. The law of crap. We go through a lot of crap as realtors, so you won't forget that now, right?
Right.
You're automating it, and then you're constantly planning on what the next task will be. Capture, reward, automate, plan. You'll hear me say that over and over again. It's very important. Um, again, uh, newsletter sponsorship, social media campaigns, and educational seminars. So we were talking about all of those things. Social media, it's been a bit of I hear from too many of you that you just don't have content that you could put up there. It's simply not true. Again, at the end of this, I will go through what you could do with the LLMs and the AIs to be able to get that. Sandy, go ahead. You need to unmute yourself in order to speak.
Yeah, I have tons of content. I went to an open house yesterday. I shot a video. I
Great.
do it all the time. I'm doing reels on Facebook and on Instagram.
Good.
I can't get traction. I have no followers. I have like 13 followers on Facebook and on Instagram. I don't know. I mean, I keep inviting people, but I don't know how many people are watching or seeing my stuff.
You know what, Sandy? I'm so glad you said that. So we're going to digress for just a second here because Sandy brought up a really good point. So here we were talking about, and here comes Aton. We were talking about content. Sandy, if you're getting low traction, it means nobody really cares about the content you're putting out there. Don't take it personally. It's not a symptom of a disease and it's very fixable. Okay? No, don't cry. Okay, thank you, Sandy. I appreciate that. Was good. Sandy, we got a little thing going here. I like that. Good. Okay, let's take a look at here. Now, some of you have, what the heck is going on? New to Boca Raton, Delray Beach, and the surrounding areas. I've shown this a bunch of times, but all of you should see this. We've got 9,300 members in that. Sandy, I think it's doing a little bit better than you. These people, this is my site. This woman doesn't exist. She's entirely AI fabricated, as is much of the content that's in here. It even says AI enabled here. And we've got some people making certain comments. This guy apparently had, I don't know how he ended up here right now. Most relevant, where is there indoor ping pong in the Boca Raton area? Um, I don't know why he would actually mention that, but we've got some people that are actually putting stuff up here. The point is that we created New to Boca Raton. I created New to Boca Raton, Delray Beach, and the surrounding areas. And I encourage you to go sign up for it now if you'd like to see it. My team can choose to use this or not, but you could take a look here. Somebody actually made a participant request, and they are, this is the person's name. They are a homeowner, and they didn't give us their email address for their newsletter. But when you sign up, you'll see that you're asked, do you rent, do you own, or are you planning to buy? Every third or fourth thing you see on Facebook is an advertisement. So Facebook needs your eyeballs. The reason I got this idea was there was a woman who lives in the community whose husband died, and she started her own Facebook group and now has 100,000 members. Well, I help the woman whenever she needs help. She's a sweet lady, and she needed help with their printer. And oh, Edmund, can you come over? Of course I do. I help the whole community. That's me. Um, but what I realized is that the content is truly king. So, Sandy, if you're falling short, I would argue that the content is something to get started. Aton, my good friend and partner here, is in Portugal, but he's also licensed in Florida. He has new to Surfside, which is a similar thing. Actually, let me pull it up. And Aton, I don't know if Surfside. Okay, sorry, let me just pull the screen back up. So we've got new to Surfside, and he's only got 206 members, but he hasn't been feeding this very much. We've got one new person coming in per day. If somebody has their thing unmuted and there's noise in the background, if you don't mind, the Caroline, thank you. Okay. When you need to talk, you just unmute. But here he got this thing set up, and it was the same thing. Let's take a look at who might have come in, and Eitan will have to decide what he wants to do. I'm renting here in Surfside. Um, Here's somebody that studied at Harvard. They joined 16 years ago. Let's see. Planning to move here. Oceanside House, Surfside. Let's see this. Let's see if there's anyone else that might have signed up. You know, okay. We may.
It's hard to get their email addresses.
It is hard, not impossible. And by the way, Eitan, for you to know, you're not putting the time in that people need. Like here, this woman, Kim Kaplan, put up, we have her full name. We know she joined Facebook 16 years ago. Anyone want to have a guess why that's important? Anyone? Okay, if they
She's a real person.
If 16, exactly, it's a spammer if it's 16. If they joined 16 years ago, we're fairly certain that that's a real, they might be an asshole. I mean, they might be a horrible person, but at least they're real. So we know that we have her. We know that we have this young woman. She's planning on buying. We see she joined Facebook 16 years ago. I happen to have some mutual friends with her here in Eitan. This is somebody that we may want to pursue. Again, this is not necessarily the world's greatest resource, but today more than ever, you're able to pull some great leads out of it. And you're right. In Eitan's case, very few, if any, people left their email addresses. But I would argue it's because he's not putting up the content that he really needs. Let me show you one other Facebook page that I got started that you might want to join anyway now, ChatGPT and Real Estate Mastermind. So here we've got over 13,000 members in that. And the content that we have, this meeting is being recorded right now. I'm going to take that content from today's meeting, put it into an AI, and have it summarize the key points that I made into short social media posts, as you can see right here. Game-changing productivity hack, the hour of power. Well, anyone who came to the previous meeting, you know that we talked about the hour of power. And we put that up, and we get more and more content going up. Poll, how are you using AI in real estate? And people may or may not answer. But we're actually feeding this with content that we're technically curating, but not creating. And I think that that's for you to understand. Anyway, I'm not going to spend much more time. We have many events that we do on AI and social media. But Sandy, I hope that kind of brings a little bit of clarity to you. If we could get you to make something a little bit better, and if we could think about them, nobody gives a damn about just listed, just sold, and under contract. I wish they did. God, do I wish they cared. I really wish people would be happy for that. It's important to get it out there, but it's not the type of thing that is going to really lead that much business to you.
Well, I also do, if I go to a restaurant, I try to do a quick reel about the restaurants and about the area, that kind of thing. I mean, I'm trying a lot, but I mean, most of my stuff is right now going to open houses, holding open houses, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Hey, Sandy, are you tagging like the restaurant or other groups or anything like that in your posts?
Not when I'm doing reels.
You should.
I guess
Yeah,
I
that
should.
made a big difference in my social media.
Okay, thank you.
It's one of those things. And Greg, I'm glad you mentioned it. Let's use the first word, social. It's about, I mean, we're really relearning how to create relationships in the new era here. And that's really, and it's different. Hashtags, thank you, Nicole mentioned hashtags really are big. Brandy, I find that using trending music, 100%. 100%. By the way, I'll go a step further. When you add the music, and we'll do other things on the tools that you could do, if you add the music and turn the sound down to 0, you can't even hear the music. Because it's tagged as that trending music, it will give you a bump in viewership. Remember, I've got on my Instagram about 5,100 followers on my private account, about 700 on my other account. My Facebook, I've got about 5,000. My groups, I've got several thousand. At any given time, if I get 1 to 3% of that set of eyeballs looking at this, I'm lucky. So when people say to me, "Oh, I post a couple times a week. I hope I'm not posting too much." Nonsense. You should be posting 8 or 9 times a day. 8 or 9 times a day. There's got to be a way for you to automate this. Sandy, you're a busy guy. You're with one Sotheby's. Come on, we've got to find a way to make this work. That's what this is really about. Guys, again, you have questions, please jump in. Oh, Paul made it home. Thank God. Okay. You got me all worried there, Paul. So let me give you some other things that you might want to check. Oh, brand delivery vehicles. I am now in talks with my dog groomer. In Florida, we have these mobile dog groomers that actually drive around in a truck, and then he takes Coco and he gives her a haircut, and he comes back in, and I give him $100, and that's what we do. He's got a bus wrap, a vehicle wrap around his vehicle. I am speaking with him now about repurposing that and having me with Coco on the back of his tailgate that actually opens up. It doesn't even have to say Edmund Bogan, by the way, because I know there's a lot of people he's doing business with right here in this community. So it doesn't have to say Edmund Bogan Realtor. I just know that it's such a prominent truck that drives around, and I see it multiple times a week within my community. That's all I need. And if I now, so I said to him, how much is it going to be to fabricate this? He said, oh, maybe $500. $500, I could get me and Coco on the back of a truck that everyone is going to be seeing. And I know people are going to be coming up to me saying, what the fuck? What is that? It's just, I would rather shock them. They're going to say, you're in the dog business now. Boom, I've got a conversation starter. Just something to think about. Okay. Okay, so Sandy or Carolyn or some of you need to start the dogs of whatever your neighborhood is. If you've got local food scene or certain area specific events, that's going to be fantastic. Let me give you one other thing that you might not have considered. And I've mentioned this in past meetings. If you go right now on somewhere online and produce a t-shirt that says the following, ask me a real estate question I can't answer, and I'll give you $5. And then staple $5 to a bunch of business cards. People can't resist it. Now, it's not my brand. It's not the way I'm doing my business. I can't do that here at St. Andrews Country Club. It's just not what I'm doing. But I know people who have, and guess what? They get the business. It works. People cannot resist. They cannot resist going over and asking the question. Nicole? Okay, I don't know whether that was accidental or not, but so just something for you to actually consider. You also need to know what your target audience is. If you actually hone in on that, Sandy, if we go back to you for a second and you decide who your target audience is, what are they really wanting to see? I would argue it's not going to be just sold, just listed, whatever. The restaurants, you got the right idea. The best places to take a date in Boca Raton. Love it. Somebody's got an interest in that. The best places to propose to somebody. The best place is to break up with someone. I don't care. Whatever it is. I mean, you come up with something that is going to give you that kind of edge. We're now figuring out, again, the law of crap. How are we going to capture these people? Really, really important. We're going to get into some of the tools as well, but I just want to see, does anyone want to contribute to this? Paul, maybe you want to chime in. Eitan, Caroline, some of the things that you might have done. I don't want to just be the only. Paul, go ahead. Tell everyone who you are and where you are, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm Paul Fife. I'm in Kansas City, and I work with my son, who's 23. And it's kind of fun because we have a Gen X, Gen Z perspectives. Something I did probably 5 years ago, right around when COVID started, I started a hiking group on Facebook. And yeah, we actually do have hiking here in Kansas City. And we've got over 1,700 members now. And I've met, I don't know, quite a few of them on hikes over the years. A lot of them I'll probably never meet. They just like to watch people hike. And that's fine. But something I've been working on with ChatGPT is figuring out basically a game plan of how I can tie in like maybe a hike through a community or on a trail in a neighborhood with someone from the group who lives in that area or maybe even a builder in that area, and we can talk about what's around there, the community, the trail. And so this is something we're just early planning right now because the weather sucks. I've got snow on the ground still, but we're figuring out something how we can tie that in together and approach the community for looking for the active lifestyle kind of people. So that's something we're working on. And
So just to be clear, you started a group and now it has 1,700 members.
correct,
That's
correct.
pretty good.
And
There's
that's what,
something that could be done there.
yeah, and I've trickled in real estate stuff the last year or so, but prior to that, not really done much.
Yeah.
But I got business out of it in the first year, just because you're walking and talking with people. What do you do? Is the normal question, and I think the first year I did it, I got one client. We sold their house for $650 and helped them buy one for $450, which around here, those are decent price points.
Sure.
I know.
By the way,
Florida,
I do $500,000 deals all the time.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah. So, but like around here, median price is like 350 to 380 probably. So that was like within the first year of the hiking group, and some of the first people I met in the group, and I get them here and there without really trying. And now I want to be intentional and market towards people who are looking for that active lifestyle, and looking for the homes in those areas. We can really market to those people in kind of a fun way. So
Sure. All of that is great stuff. The only thing that I would do differently is right from the get-go, when you get something like that started for Sandy or anyone else in the meeting, Carolyn or Greg, anybody that starts something here, think right now what you can do to capture the people as you get that started. We're starving for community. We are starving as a species for community. God, we just, real estate, we're talking to everyone. It's a very lonely business at times. New York City, I'm from Manhattan, could be a very lonely city.
Sure.
We're starving for community. And if you could be the one to fill in the gap, there's many different ways to try and, again, capture those people. You have those 1,700 now. Hopefully you grow it out even more. But on a digital level, to be able to have them all tied up to Facebook groups, Instagram groups, your weekly newsletter, which, by the way, is sponsored by Paul's Realty. Okay. Now you've got this whole mechanism going in. And if you get them to be the first to hear it now, or you find some way to you could give an award system, by the way, Paul, somebody who went on the most amount of hikes, somebody who you could think that through, and now people get a different badge, which you could encourage them to put on their social media. And now that's branding you even further.
Sure.
This is
Okay.
textbook stuff that Coke and Pepsi have done for years. But we're bringing it down to a different level. You were going to say, Paul, go ahead.
No, that's it. That was all I was going to say. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Let me just see where else we have things. I'm going to get onto the social media in a minute, but before I get onto AI in a minute, but before we do, our next meeting is going to be next Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Strategic partnerships. We're going to talk about some of those strategic partnerships and exactly how to build them. If you want to come to that, please do let us know. We do want you to put your thinking cap on about who is the most obvious lead source for you, and even the not so obvious ones. For example, divorce attorneys makes a lot of sense. Hate to break the bad news, but they're getting divorced and the house needs to sell. We want the deal. Great. Death, destruction, financial ruin, the three pillars of real estate. We have people that get business solely from that. We're going to be talking about that. Also in the month of March, we have, once again, absentee ownership and how to market to them. I've got Andy Neal, who's going to be speaking there. He is telling us now about 65% of his business comes from people who do not live in the structure. And he's got a special way that we could actually market to those people, which he's going to share with you. So that's fantastic stuff. Let's get just now to wants, needs, and brags, and then I will get on to some of the AI stuff. Now's the time in the meeting to talk about what you want, what you need, and what you'd like to brag about. I came back from a great weekend with my daughter in California, had a great time, and that was awesome. Got a great place under contract. That was awesome too. It's, so it could be anything. It could be a charity that you gave to, let's just see, Ken, Eddie, Jean-Luc, somebody. Caroline. Very quiet bunch today. Shelby of all things.
I have a question for you,
Who's this?
Sandy.
Sandy, hi.
So I just moved into Palm Air Country Club.
Great.
Lots and lots of people here.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking of doing new to Palm Air Country Club on Facebook and that kind of thing, and start introducing myself and then start talking about things that are going on around here.
Love it.
That's the idea, right?
Love it. If you can stop and think through what has worked, all of these things have been done before you. If you notice, there's nothing that I've asked any of you to do that's kind of new, although it does come up every now and then. Most of this, you could find the success that other people have had with some groups. So, Sandy, your job between now and next Wednesday is to look online and see what stuff has actually taken off. What's actually like worked? And then really wrestle with why. What are they doing a little bit differently? If you need to get some other spokespeople, if you feel as though that will bring another dynamic in, do it. If you guys look up a man's name, there's a guy, Richard Schwatt. He passed away. Very nice man. Chwatt. One of the first things you'll see if you Google him is a YouTube video of him and I interviewing him. Don't get too shocked. I was 115 pounds heavier when I interviewed him, so you're not going to recognize me. I've lost 115 pounds and I'm extremely sexy. I need to emphasize that as well. Now I am. Thank you. But that video comes up over and over and over again. And especially after he died, people were kind of looking him up in family, and his family really came to me and were very, very grateful that I interviewed him living here in St. Andrews Country Club, just a member profile. I'm not really doing it now anymore. Actually, Sandy, speaking to you, I think I will start doing it again. I've just been so busy. But by doing that, it really escalated the business. I was able to get so much more people seeing what we're all about, because they're no longer just Googling me. They're Googling a guy like Richard Schwatt, and because he was all over that content, he now comes up in that search. Do you see how you're piggybacking off something that's there? I hope you see that.
Yes.
Cal, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So I have a quick
Caroline.
question. I farm, can you hear me?
I can. Where are you, Caroline?
Great. I'm in Boca Raton,
Oh,
Florida,
cool.
not too far from you. So I started a group in San Remo where I farm on the
Okay.
beach. It's a great community on the beach, but I wanted it to be members only. So I figured that's a great way to capture their name, email, addresses, and I didn't leave it open. And I haven't really done anything with it, but that's something that I think I would like to pursue because I'm farming that community.
Is
Do
it
you recommend
Instagram
that?
or Facebook or what's the platform?
Facebook. It was a
Good.
Facebook group.
So I did the same thing with St. Andrews. I started, if you look up St. Andrews members on Instagram, you
Hmm.
can't come in and I won't let you. I won't let my dad in or I won't let Aton in, and he's my partner. I won't let them in because why? Because it's for the adult, it's the people who live here and their adult children, and that's it. And I exclude, anybody else. There's a few hundred people that are in that group. So you might say, well, less than 300, Ed. What does it mean? These are 300 people that actually matter. So,
Right.
Caroline, what I would say to you is if you could get something like that together, images of what's going on within that community, statements and stories of what's going on within the community, member profiles of that community, fantastic stuff, right? Uh,
Hmm. But I
and
don't live
then
there. Can I still uh create a group where I don't live?
that's fine. You can do whatever you
Okay.
want.
Okay.
And look up St. Andrews members. You'll see it's a group for the members of SACC, St. Andrews Country Club, and their adult children, managed by, if I even say the unofficial group, managed by St. Andrews member and realtor Edmund Bogan. I
Right.
disclosed it right there. I mean, I make no bones about it. I'm here for. I'm giving them great content, but guess what? These people they get invited into that. They come into they have my email. So they get a weekly email from them that Daniel works very hard and puts together. They get my monthly snail mail. They get invited to the events that I put on. You see how we're really capturing
Hmm.
those 900 people. And while you're not talking, Caroline, if you don't mind muting, just because I hear everybody
Oh,
talking in the background. Yeah, but when you talk, you can unmute. Just yeah. So if we could surround everyone within one particular community, just don't poo-poo 700 or 800 people because I'm making like a big portion of my revenue comes from just the small farm. And Sandy, in your farm, go for it, get it, but really go for it, own it. Okay, it's just, and when you screw up, acknowledge that you screwed up and fix the problem. This is, I mentioned all my flaws, warts and all. I mean, that's what we've got, but it works, and somehow it's working very well. Okay, anyone else before we get to some AI stuff? Okay, let me just go in. Let me just get rid of this. Just trying to get some of the corporate secrets off of the screen, if you know what I mean here.
Thank you, Edmund.
Hey, my pleasure. Okay, here we go. Let me get you back. There we go. Okay, so this week in AI news, we had Grok. Anyone here of Grok? If anyone has a political issue, this is Elon Musk's newest AI. This is a part of X. I'm getting sick of saying formerly known as Twitter, but this is his answer to ChatGPT. And one of the things, the first thing I noticed about Grok was somebody give me a question. Sandy, give me a question to ask it, or somebody just throw something out there. Caroline, one of you.
What is the color of the White House?
Come on, Eitan, let's get a little bit
Oh,
better.
I'm better than that.
Okay,
What's
Greg, go
going on
ahead.
this weekend? What's going on this weekend in Charleston, South Carolina?
Okay, now just watch this. Up, slow down. Okay, so since today's Friday, the 21st, this weekend reversed to Saturday, the 22nd. So it's being very specific here, and it's giving the different events that are actually going on. The first thing that I noticed about Grok is it's so much faster than ChatGPT and the other services. Here's the other thing, and everyone's going to like this, and I'm going to do a close up. It's free. It's free. Woo! We love free, right? So at least for now, it's free. You're going to be able to subscribe, as with all these things, to some other um, uh, posts, but you're going to be able to do that. You could also really go nerd out with this and do some very serious type of research. I really do like this. DeepSeek is China's answer to ChatGPT, but there's also something called Kimi. Is it, Aton, was it Kimi.com or AI? Here, AI. So this is also, these are two Chinese LLMs. China's going to be the real force in AI coming up. Like it or dislike it, it is going to be something that you really should discover. These are heavily, heavily censored. And I think it's a real opportunity for those of you who are saying, oh, we should have TikTok, we should live the First Amendment, we should have anybody. Just go on to Kimi and to DeepSeek when you're outside of this meeting and ask this question. Can you name some strict government regimes that don't allow freedom or curtail freedom of their people? And DeepSeek starts answering, well, North Korea, then it gave this, then it said China, then it suddenly stopped and said, I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. Okay? Kimi, same thing. If anybody thinks that there's not some big brother somewhere stopping it, you're out of your mind. Of course there is. So,
OpenAI does the same thing to me.
well, Eitan, that's just because you've got a scary accent, okay? But I'll just tell you this, that it's much, much more so with these things. Yes, there is no such thing as true freedom anymore. I just want to give everyone the heads up about those things. You can get some phenomenal information out of it. And one of the things that you can do as well is get really, really great comparative between the different AIs. Let me show you again. One thing that I like to do, if we go to Claude, and I've got projects in Claude, and we could take a look here. This was a prompt that I put in. I want to, I have an actual prompt. I could share it with you at the end, but this prompt takes the transcript of this past week's meeting. I'm going to copy this transcript. This meeting is being transcribed right now on Otter, which is another technology. So word for word, it's getting it. I'm taking last week's meeting along with this prompt that I made, and I simply put that whole thing into ChatGPT. Now, what is actually happening here? What's happening with the prompt is it's giving me the key takeaways from the meeting, which of course we could use for letters and for getting information out to all of you. And that's great because everybody likes to summarize the meeting. But it goes a step further. One of the things in the prompt I asked for was, can you make 5 social media posts on Facebook, 5 social media posts on X, 5 social media posts on LinkedIn? And here's what it's is actually creating. It's actually creating the posts. Now, here's the interesting thing. The content was you helped generate that content today, Sandy. You participated in this meeting. So I'm going to be taking the meeting, I'm going to be putting it into ChatGPT with the prompt, and it's going to come up with a whole load of content for me. Let me just show you something I made off this. And for those of you who aren't following me on Instagram, I wish you would. But here I created an avatar, and my partner Eitan specializes in avatars. And we created this. This is AI Ed taking an excerpt from our last meeting and talking about it here. Take a look. Oops. AI and real estate tip. AI is completely changing how we price properties. If you're still manually creating CMAs, you're wasting time and losing deals. AI can generate detailed data-backed reports in seconds, not just on price comps, but buyer demand, seasonal trends, and hyper-local market shifts. Here's what I want you to do today. Upload a recent listings MLS data into an AI tool like ChatGPT or Claude and compare the results with your manual CMA. Notice the difference? Now imagine doing this for every listing. Faster, more accurate, and more persuasive. Want my go-to AI prompts for CMAs? DM me, AI CMA, and I'll send them to you today. Hey, everyone, it's okay, AI so that was one. And the call to action was DM me. Obviously, I want people to become my coaching clients, and I want you to come here. So that was my objective. But let's take a look at what I did. Let's see what this one was. Hey, everyone, this is AI Ed with your latest AI and real estate news. AI is shaking up property listings in surprising ways. In Australia, realtors using generative AI are seeing a boom in creative listing descriptions, but not always in a good way. Terms like Hampton style, blank canvas, or New York loft are popping up more than ever, sometimes masking a home's less desirable features. Industry experts warn that while AI can streamline listing creation, over-reliance on automated descriptions may lead to vague or even misleading marketing, keeping the human touch. AI should enhance real estate, not replace the expertise and authenticity buyers rely on. That's your AI real estate update. Stay tuned for more. This is AI Ed. Talk soon. Okay, so you get that. That was not me. That is an AI avatar of me.
I like him much better than you.
Most people do, Eitan. I could be a real prick. I get it. Yeah. But but what's amazing about that is that the content that you saw coming out of this, we're going to take today's meeting. I'm going to send that content to Daniel, who's over in the Philippines. Daniel's going to take that prompt along with all of that stuff. He's going to be able to then upload it into a program called Captions, and he's going to be able to make that avatar that was just AI Ed. Eitan is going to get something for the blog post, and Eitan's over in Portugal, and he's going to be able to repurpose and put the blog post somewhere. We now have between X and Facebook about 12 different little posts that we could put up. Oh, we also have a visual prompt to have an AI create images. Remember, Caroline, in the beginning, I showed that image of the woman. I said she's AI generated on the Facebook page. So we have that based on the content. It now will create that stuff. Nobody has an excuse not to have content anymore. And on a global scale, with Daniel in the Philippines and Eitan in Portugal and me here, we somehow are able to collaborate and get a ton of eyeballs and a ton of people coming to this particular meeting. What actually works with you? That's where you and I need to get together. That's where we need to meet and talk about it. Caroline, you've got something about you that I simply can't compete with. And all of you do. Sandy, Nicole, Greg, all of you have that. You just have to decide what you're going to actually tap into, and you're going to be able to make that a thing. So that's we don't have Terry today, so we don't have this. Thank you, uh, Daniel, for putting up all the links as we were doing it. Thank you, Aton. I am going to say for the guests who would like to give our mastermind a free trial. The link is here. We do ask that you sign up today for the free trial, and we get you in. We meet 6 times a month, 4 Wednesdays and 2 Fridays. The Wednesdays are at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Fridays are at 12 noon, as you know right now, again, Eastern Standard Time. But there's much, much more than that. We are now the outsourced marketing arm for several different agents. So if you need a weekly newsletter done, if you want to do a CMA a day, if you were trying to come up with some type of strategy and you don't want to actually perform it yourself, you could hire us and we could do it for you. We could do it affordably and effectively. So if you're curious about that, please, please, please do reach out to me. Or better yet, you know where I'm going with this, Daniel. Daniel at Bogan Homes. He's always faster than me. The guy's a radar. He knows what's going on. And that's what I have to say about that. I'm really grateful that everyone came. That's the meeting. Any plans this weekend? It's a little weird when Terry can't sing us out. No plans? Caroline?
Working. I'm working. I've got 2 new listings coming up, so I got to put in that work on those.
Okay, very good. Well, good to have you. Sandy, what were you saying?
301 North Ocean Boulevard, number 307, 120 Street from the beach. The cheapest
Okay.
apartment in the building.
I heard some of that, but okay,
I know, me too.
you gotta stay a little closer to your mic.
Okay, sorry about that. But it's 301 North Ocean Boulevard, number 307. I'll be there from 12 to 3, both Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
Open.
Very good. Post it in the Rain Nation page on Facebook. We want that. Paul, anything going on this weekend? I haven't seen you in a while. I'm glad that you're back here.
We've just been busy. My mother-in-law had a stroke about 6 weeks ago. So my wife's been got a lot dealing with that, and so she's getting better. She's back at home and spending nights alone now without my wife there, so that's nice. But we've just been busy. We've had a couple really crappy snowstorms here in the Midwest, and we're finishing that up this week. And I've got several listings coming up, but a lot of them are seniors because I work with seniors, and it's always a little bit slower getting them going from that first meeting to active date. So we're working on those, getting things going. And my son, he just came over. We're meeting and planning for some of our video content for the next couple of weeks. So that's all we have going on.
Good for you. Well, that sounds like a lot. It's really good. And I'm happy to hear that. Okay, and Aton, thank you for putting this up. Aton, the AI avatar, is that going to be very difficult for us to make for people? Are we going to take like 2 weeks to do it?
No, we will take 3 days to make it.
Yes, that was a rhetorical question. You're supposed to lead in on it. See, that's what I was trying to lead you over to that.
It's the Flash.
You're killing my pitch.
But we can do a great job. You could have your own avatar, and we do 3 videos that you could basically put into your website, your social media, and whatnot for a very small fee.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, look, thank you, Aton. Thank you, Caroline. Good to see you. I hope to have you back. Sandy, great to
Thank
see
you,
you.
everyone.
Everyone
Have
else,
a nice
great.
weekend.
Thank you. Great to have you, Brandy. Good. Thank you for participating. Hassan, always good to have you. And Greg, of course, everyone. Good to see everyone. I hope to see you next
Bye.
Wednesday, 9 a.m. for another exciting episode of Rain Nation. Have a good weekend.
Bye, everyone.